These weapons can destroy Russia. Allies unchained, the floodgates are open. Europe is done waiting. Capitals flip the switches, signatures fly, and the shockwave of new power surges straight to Ukraine. Skies locking down, steel columns rolling, and iron birds screaming overhead. The tempo is brutal, the message is simple: full support, no breaks. The West isn't whispering anymore, it's roaring. Every hour, the arsenal grows and the invaders' nerves snap. This is more than aid, it's a reckoning. What's next? Which capital drops the next bombshell? All of it in our special edition of Hotspot. A way of payback is here. London is fast-tracking a new phase of military aid. No delays, just missiles, drones, armored vehicles, and ammunition aimed squarely at Ukraine's victory. Moscow is unraveling as allies push to the limit. Parity achieved, our drones rule the sky, and the West keeps clapping and shipping more firepower. Is this only the start? What will our partners roll out next? Stay tuned for the first details.
The United Kingdom is strengthening Ukraine's skies. Hundreds of missiles for air defense systems were delivered 5 months ahead of schedule. This was reported on the British government's website during the visit to Kyiv by the Minister for Defense Readiness and Industry, Luke Pollard.
The development of industrial partnerships is important so that we can learn from their experience and together build the industrial base necessary to defend the United Kingdom, deter our adversaries, and support Ukraine.
We are talking about light multi-role missiles, LMM, which are produced as part of the British military support program for Ukraine. This is a high-precision missile measuring 1.3 meters in length, weighing only 13 kilograms, and with a range of up to 8 kilometers. It is equipped with a laser infrared guidance system, and its 3-kilogram fragmentation warhead with a proximity fuse makes it effective against both aerial and ground targets. The missiles can be launched from various platforms, including ground-based launchers such as Manpads, the Stormer SAM system, HVM or Rapid Ranger, as well as from helicopters and ships.
As illegal Russian aggression continues to intensify, European countries must unite and strengthen their support. Ongoing and sustained industrial cooperation, both with our dedicated government colleagues and our vital international allies, remains the only truly effective way to ensure a safe, secure, and prosperous future for the resilient people of Ukraine.
British support is not limited to supplies. At the same time, a new major phase of industrial cooperation has been announced. The package of £1.6 billion, approximately $2 billion, is intended for integrating LMM missiles into Ukraine's air defense and expanding joint production capabilities. According to Luke Pollard, the total volume of UK military aid in 2025 will reach £4.5 billion, or $5.6 billion, a record figure for London for all time. And now, another key element of cooperation. The United Kingdom and Ukraine are launching joint production of interceptor drones. The project could start in the coming months. We're talking about a production line capable of turning out around 2,000 interceptors per month. Such production rates are exactly what's needed to counter massive swarms of Shahed drones and other large-scale attacks by combat UAVs. The first production lines will be set up in the United Kingdom, but the project structure is designed to be flexible, so it can quickly respond to the needs of the front and relocate capacity closer to Ukraine if necessary. The British side promises to contribute development, research expertise, and modern manufacturing technologies that Ukrainian factories currently lack. This is not just a supply contract, it's an attempt to create sovereign capabilities for Ukraine. Equipment, technical support, training, and joint research and development chains. At the same time as the UK, the Netherlands also discussed a memorandum on joint drone production. European partners are building industrial cooperation that is meant to function not as a one-time delivery, but as a series of production lines, services, and training.
In other words, while we have long since successfully matched the impressive quality of drones with the so-called Russian, actually Iranian-Chinese Shaheds, the truly significant and pressing question was, can we effectively scale up our own production capabilities in the same remarkable way that Iran and China have so successfully done for Russia? Well, it turns out we could. So, when it comes to long-range drones, we're now close to parity not only in terms of the quality of the machines, but also in their quantity, which is extremely important in this case. After all, this isn't the kind of war you can win with pinpoint strikes alone. Here, the sheer volume of strikes is what really matters. It's necessary, well, when we're talking about figures like a 20% reduction in all of Russia's oil refining industry. That's when you need operations on this kind of scale. And now we finally reached that scale.
Other allies of Ukraine are also preparing new support measures. The United States plans to continue supplying advanced weaponry, including air defense systems, artillery and cruise missiles, as well as strengthening Ukraine's defense infrastructure. According to preliminary plans, in 2025 to 2026, the volume of military aid could amount to several billion dollars. Among the European countries, Germany and France are preparing to supply armored vehicles and ammunition, as well as expanding the training of Ukrainian soldiers at their training centers. Poland and the Baltic states are considering the possibility of providing additional types of weapons and equipment, as well as conducting joint exercises to enhance the combat readiness of Ukrainian troops. In addition, the Allies are developing plans for the long-term integration of new air defense systems and artillery complexes so that Ukraine can build a resilient defense network and prepare for possible escalation from the Russian Federation. As part of humanitarian support, there are plans to expand programs for infrastructure restoration, medical assistance, and the training of specialists to work in crisis conditions.
At this very moment, the Netherlands is supplying Ukraine with Tomahawks, a bold, clear-cut step. Amsterdam is bringing the Allies into formation, and a torrent of arms is on the way that will chill the enemy at the front. Our troops are being outfitted as never before, and Europe's patience has snapped. It's shifting to the offensive. It's a shocker. No one anticipated deliveries on this scale, and it could reshape everything. Get the first details in our report. Watch now.
Ukrainian partners in Europe continue to provide assistance to Ukraine in its war with Russia.
We see that this is a criminal act of aggression. It is absolutely essential that Russia be held accountable for its crimes. And for this, a special judicial body must be established. This criminal aggression must be stopped. The killings must be stopped as soon as possible. So it is necessary to keep putting pressure on Russia in order to be able to impose more sanctions and do everything possible so that Ukraine can fight, can defend itself against these attacks on land and from the air.
New steps in the defense partnership with Ukraine. The Netherlands will contribute 55 million euros to the World Bank to support Ukraine.
We are doing everything we can to support Ukraine. And we are doing this not only in words, but also in our actions. So we have provided 55 million to the World Bank, 55 million euros to the World Bank in order to support humanitarian efforts in reforms, recovery and reconstruction so that your country can emerge renewed. Our struggle, our fight.
The Netherlands and Ukraine will continue to cooperate within the framework of joint defense projects. The focus is on joint production of Ukrainian equipment in the Netherlands.
The Netherlands and Ukraine have agreed to work together on the production of drones that can be deployed here. And of course, we continue to provide unwavering support with military essential equipment, crucial ammunition, advanced F-16s and various other sophisticated weapon systems.
The Netherlands was one of the first countries to agree to transfer its F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine. The first planes were delivered to Ukraine in 2024. Washington is now considering transferring Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine. Besides the US, these missiles are not only in the UK and Australia, but also in the Netherlands. The Kremlin got seriously tense. The propaganda outlet Izvestia even sent a letter to the Dutch diplomatic mission in Moscow, inquiring about the possibility of transferring Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine.
In a recent letter to Parliament, the government stated that considering Ukraine's persistently high needs on the one hand and the urgent security interests of Europe and the Netherlands on the other, the cabinet decided to allocate additional funding. Regardless of whether the Dutch government discloses information about the supplies being delivered, the Ministry of Defense is guided by the principle of operational security as well as the interests of third parties involved in the deliveries.
According to a Russian Telegram channel, 2 US Navy majors received approval from the State Department to purchase about 200 Tomahawk land-based missiles in various versions for the Netherlands under the Navy's Foreign Military Sales Program. The total cost of the program is estimated at between $2 and $19 billion. The transfer of the missiles to the Netherlands is in line with new rules under which Europe buys weapons from the US for Ukraine, the two majors remind. The question remains, when can we expect the first use? Well, for now, it has been openly stated that the Dutch Ministry of Defense has signed an agreement with the Estonian company Miltron Robotics and the battery manufacturer Tulip Tech for joint production of defense equipment. The company will supply Ukraine with more than 150 unmanned ground vehicles.
It is an honor for us to lead this project in partnership with the Netherlands and VDL. The SAMI's platform has already proven its value in combat conditions, and we believe that this contribution will significantly strengthen Ukraine's defense capabilities.
The cooperation is structural in nature and is planned for at least 10 years. New production lines are scheduled to be launched in the coming months. In addition, Milton Robotics will provide comprehensive training for Ukrainian operators to ensure effective deployment and maintenance in the field. The new units will complement the 15 ZMI's machines that are already in operation in Ukraine and have proven their effectiveness on the battlefield since 2022.
This vehicle is capable of carrying 700 to 750 kilograms of payload. This means that it can transport not only the wounded, not only handle logistics such as delivering ammunition to the front line, for example, but also be used as a weapons platform because you can mount anything on it: machine guns, automatic cannons.
ZMIS is an unmanned transport platform designed to support the armed forces, logistics, reconnaissance, and combat support. Currently, the system is part of robotics programs and is in operation in 19 countries and 8 NATO member states.
The Netherlands is one of the most principled defenders of life, a country that truly helps our defense, our resilience, and, which is also important, our efforts to achieve justice.
The Netherlands has also allocated 300 million euros for the recovery and strengthening of Ukraine over the years 2025 to 2026. Out of this amount, 52 million euros will be allocated to energy infrastructure and water supply. Since 2022, the country has provided Ukraine with 26 billion euros, of which 13.6 billion have been directed towards military support. The Netherlands and its allies continue to support Ukraine in its fight for freedom and security.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine today. Join us now.
France is entering the game. Paris is flooding Ukraine with arms and backing Kyiv to the last. Reinforcements for the armed forces of Ukraine on a scale we haven't seen before. Air defenses touted to outperform even the famed Patriots. Equipment is rolling in by the convoy. Self-propelled howitzers, 100 of APCs, Rakan tanks and more. Full throttle engaged. A drone plant is already running flat out. What's the next days up our allies' sleeve? All the answers straight ahead in our report.
Strong support for Ukraine. Military and financial assistance since the very beginning of the full-scale war.
And from day one, we made a clear choice to support Ukraine in the face of Russia's aggressive war, and at the same time, to defend its independence and freedom.
Even despite political instability in the country, France has stated that this will not affect its military support for Ukraine. Macron himself has called for increasing aid and strengthening sanctions against Russia.
France plays a key role in the system of collective security in Europe, and accordingly, as a country that aspires to regional leadership on the European continent, France demonstrates its activity on the international stage not just through statements. France is providing Ukraine with practical military technical assistance. It should be noted that France's military technical assistance has already reached about 6 billion euros.
France was also one of the first countries to start supplying Ukraine with important weaponry.
France is one of the first countries to have supplied Ukraine with long-range strike capabilities. The fact is, France was among the first countries to allow the use of its cruise missiles for strikes on the territory of the Russian Federation. This is very noteworthy. In other words, the French are showing their support for Ukraine through concrete actions. Let me emphasize once again, this is in contrast to other European and global partners.
During the meeting between Zelensky and Macron, they discussed strengthening Ukraine's air defense ahead of winter, as well as the use of frozen Russian assets for the benefit of Ukraine.
France has also supplied Ukraine with strike capabilities. We're talking about French-made self-propelled artillery, the Caesar howitzers. In addition, the French side explicitly stated that, accordingly, they will also significantly strengthen the defensive capabilities of Ukraine's vital air defense system, providing crucial support. This is quite remarkable.
Moreover, thanks to France, Ukraine has something even better than the American Patriot system.
France, together with Italy, has supplied SAMP-T surface-to-air missile systems of Franco-Italian production for the needs of the armed forces of Ukraine. This is essentially an analog of the American Patriot system. and in certain aspects it even surpasses the Patriot.
As for the French Mirage 2000 fighter jets, it is known that their number in the French Air Force has decreased, which means that several of these aircraft have indeed been delivered to Ukraine.
The number of aircraft supplied is up to about 10 units. But most notably, Ukrainian pilots underwent training courses in France not only on the Mirage 2000 F5, which is the main combat aircraft of the French Air Force, but also accordingly on the F-16.
And we should not forget about the possibility of training Ukrainian military personnel, which France is also actively conducting.
It was on French territory that the Anna of Kiev Brigade underwent its training. In addition, Ukrainian pilots and electronic warfare specialists are also undergoing training in France, and accordingly air defense specialists as well.
Our experience, your industry. Ukraine and France have agreed to launch joint weapons production. This concerns drones and defense manufacturing.
First and foremost, this refers to both strike drones and interceptor drones. So, as we can see, in this regard, France is also supporting the Ukrainian side in the development of our defense industry.
And here is the first joint drone from the French company and the Ukrainian Antonov aircraft plant, who announced their cooperation 2 years ago. The Arak UAV has completed its first test flight with a pilot on board. Arak is capable of carrying out long-range patrol and reconnaissance missions, as well as delivering effective strikes, including against enemy aircraft.
Berlin is lifting Ukraine's defense industry to the skies this very minute. Billions of euros from Germany's wallet to the armed forces of Ukraine. This mega weaponry is radically changing the battlefield. Leopards roar in the inferno of the front. Shock! Germany is hammering the Kremlin's might with everything it's got. Ukraine triumphs. There's no hiding it now. The final strike is being prepared. What will it look like? We'll tell you and show next.
Germany has announced the expansion of cooperation with Ukraine and Israel. A new unit will be created within the federal police, which will be exclusively responsible for future protection against drones. Ukraine will also receive 2 more Patriot systems from Germany by the end of 2025 with the support of Norwegian partners.
Germany is one of the leaders when it comes to transferring air defense manufacturers to the Ukrainian side. These are accordingly Patriot surface-to-air missile systems plus missiles for the Patriots PAC-2, PAC-3. This also includes IRIS-T. Moreover, it should be noted that in addition, Gepards are also being delivered. Again, these are short-range air defense systems. It is quite remarkable that the German side is providing a layered air defense system.
Since the beginning of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Germany has been the largest European donor
of military aid, which encompasses the provision of resources and support from one nation to another. This typically includes weapons, equipment, training, and financial assistance, primarily intended to bolster a recipient country's defense capabilities and enhance its security. In addition to this, accordingly, there is also the transfer of infantry fighting vehicles. In addition, Germany, in cooperation with Denmark, is funding the transfer to the Ukrainian side from various sources. This refers to the Caesar self-propelled howitzers.
In September, Berlin launched a new initiative to procure long-range drones jointly with Ukraine's defense industry for 300 million euros.
It was Germany that proposed this first. An innovative approach to supporting the Ukrainian defense industry and funding long-range weapons programs. First and foremost, this concerns Ukrainian ballistic capabilities and the production of strike drones. It appears that this amount is about $1.9 billion. This sum is sufficient to scale up the production of strike drones within the Ukrainian ballistic program, better known as Flamingo.
Germany has also moved to the next stage of providing military assistance to Ukraine, which involves Berlin purchasing weapons for Kiev from Ukrainian manufacturers, as well as joint production.
Germany fully understands that the Russian Federation plans to expand the theater of military operations, including on the European continent. And the first to face the threat of Russian aggression will be Germany itself. This is the Kaliningrad region. This is the former Prussia, which accordingly is currently part of the Russian Federation.
Over 3.5 years of war, the German government has provided Ukraine with support totaling more than 50 billion euros. For 2026, Berlin has already included military aid to Kyiv in the draft state budget, as well as measures to enhance its own combat readiness.
If in 2022 Germany spent 1.6 billion euros on aid to Ukraine, in the year 2023, this particular amount was approximately 5 billion euros, and subsequently, in the year 2024, it had risen to about 7.5 billion euros. For the year 2025, the planned amount of military technical assistance to Ukraine is approximately 9 billion euros. Moreover, there is a separate budget line for funding and production of the Ukrainian ballistic program and Ukrainian long-range strike drones.
A year ago, Germany's largest defense company, Rheinmetall, together with Ukroboronprom, opened the first joint facility for the repair and production of equipment. And in 2026, they plan to launch a plant for the production of munitions on the territory of Ukraine.
It is the world's largest producer of artillery shells. It is Germany that has taken on this responsibility. The main point is the supply of 155mm caliber artillery shells. And note what exactly. The German company Rheinmetall announced the establishment of production facilities in Ukraine, and we're talking about the production of artillery shells and a plant for repairing armored vehicles directly in Ukraine.
Let me remind you that Germany has committed to providing Ukraine with 9 billion euros annually over the next several years.
Right now, Slovakia just hit Putin hard. It burst onto the scene unexpectedly and shocked everyone. This you have to see. It has quite literally switched Moscow off. A fateful decision is made. Bratislava is showering Ukraine with weapons. The key documents are signed. Total support for Kyiv is the new course. Slovakia has dared to act. The Kremlin is in agony, losing allies one by one. Empty promises turn to ash as Ukraine's armed forces grow in unprecedented strengths. First details on the stunning shifts in the global arena. Don't miss what's next.
Our goal is to end the war as soon as possible so that Slavs stop killing each other. The war could have ended 3 months after it began.
He is known for his harsh anti-Ukrainian statements and openly pro-Russian rhetoric.
There are no moral, historical, or legal reasons why Slovakia should be drawn into the war.
Right now, Fico is trying to find a balance between veto and support.
He is still trying to take a more balanced position. At the same time, yes, as you said absolutely correctly, it's preferable to sit on several chairs at once. And so, for as long as they can delay giving up Russian energy resources, that's exactly what they're doing.
A country that has repeatedly threatened not to vote for EU financial aid packages for Ukraine is now once again acting as a partner because it knows the value.
Slovakia will try to maintain a balance considering that they are still continuing to purchase and transit Russian energy resources, both for themselves and for others. They will try to keep that balance. They will not transfer military equipment to Ukraine, their own equipment, yes, in the form of such military aid packages. But at the same time, the fact that Slovakia's position has already evolved to the point where they themselves are ready to show such a gesture of goodwill that they are willing to help Ukraine, even with humanitarian aid, even in matters of demining. This is actually already a good step forward.
Slovakia will provide Ukraine with equipment for demining and evacuation. This was announced by Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal. The package will include not only Bozena vehicles, the legendary armored tractors capable of clearing mines in just a few minutes, but also engineering and construction equipment, transport, demining systems, and medical evacuation means.
During the meeting, I thanked my Slovak colleague for the assistance that saves the lives of Ukrainians. We feel Slovakia's support on our path toward achieving a just and lasting peace.
Slovak Defense Minister Robert Kaliňák confirmed that Slovakia is not stopping at what has already been achieved. Well, and Fico thought, Europe will be pleased, and Moscow won't be too offended.
The policy of Slovakia, just like Slovenia or Hungary, for example, Hungary, is quite situational. And depending on the set of circumstances that arise, decisions are made accordingly.
But despite this, the assistance is very important for Ukraine. Kaliňák noted that they are currently working on new joint projects between Ukrainian and Slovak companies. A significant increase in the production of artillery ammunition and direct fire systems to strengthen defense cooperation with Ukraine.
We are open to investments in joint defense projects on both sides of the Slovak-Ukrainian border. That is why I included several representatives of the Slovak defense industry in my delegation.
By the way, the previous 13th package of military aid to Ukraine was provided back in February 22nd. Bratislava has managed to object to allocating funds to Kyiv at least 3 times. First in October 23rd, and then in January and March 25th. Immediately after Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico visited Moscow, he stated that Slovakia would not support Ukraine.
The Slovak Republic will not support Ukraine either financially or militarily to prolong the war. If others choose to do so, we will respect that.
Each of these pauses played into the hands of the Kremlin, while our defenders on the front lines were left without crucial assistance on the battlefield that could have helped preserve territory from the Moscow enemy. And Fico explained this in various ways. Sometimes he said it was necessary to focus on internal problems, other times that the principles of support needed to be reconsidered. Fico's government also rejected a €40 million aid package, reducing military support to only humanitarian and non-lethal assistance.
We can clearly see that the nation of Slovakia is now actively trying, let's say through the significant and official visit of its esteemed Minister of Defense to the sovereign nation of Ukraine, to deliberately send a very strong and unambiguous political signal not only to the government in Kyiv, but also to the influential political circles in Brussels, that Slovakia is indeed ready and willing to pursue a much more carefully considered and genuinely balanced policy approach, rather than, let's say, an overtly anti-Ukrainian and distinctly anti-European one, which would be detrimental to regional stability and cooperation.
Fico's wavering between European integration and a pro-Russian tilt will lead to nothing good.
We are currently seeing classic realpolitik now from the Prime Minister, Mr. Fico of Slovakia, and most likely this particular approach will continue to be the main course of Slovakia's foreign policy going forward.
The Slovaks have repeatedly taken to the streets because, after 2 years, they realize they do not agree with the pro-Russian policy of their Prime Minister, who does not mind shaking hands with the Kremlin dictator who started the war. However, the current aid package for Kyiv shows that the pragmatists in Bratislava see that helping Kyiv today is more beneficial and promising.
At this moment, that's all from me, Maria Farafonova. Even more hellish frontline news in our new episode. But for now, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. See you soon!